G'day everyone and welcome to the round 16 AFL fantasy wrap-up video after what was a huge round. There was plenty of big scores floating around this week, and in terms of how my team went, I scored 25-34 this week, which is probably one of my highest scores ever in fantasy. I think it would definitely be right up there, that's for sure. And as a result of that, I moved inside the top 1,000 for the first time this season to 802nd overall, which was just a great result, and just a very good round overall from my team. So looking back at the trades that I made going into the round now, and they were obviously thrown on its head once Luke Jackson was ruled out. So I ended up bringing in Riley O'Brien instead of Dawson so I could cover for Jackson, which turned out pretty well in the end. Obviously Dawson was great, but luckily O'Brien went big. And as for the downgrade, I brought in McGuinness, who wasn't playing, and that was on purpose so I could loop D'Ambrosio's 77 onto my field, which might seem a bit much just for a 77, but with so much uncertainty in fantasy, you just have to take every point you can get, in my opinion. So that's why I went with that. So looking back at the team now and how it performed, starting in defence, Sam Doherty 79. He was probably due for a down week, Sam Doherty, so there's no issues here. He is still clearly the number one defender in my eyes. Jack Sinclair 140, a huge score from Sinclair. He was absolutely everywhere on Friday night, and his role is just made for fantasy really, and he hasn't let me down once all year ever since I got him in. So he's just a jet, Jack Sinclair. Jack Crisp 83. He hasn't had a great last couple of weeks, Crisp, but most teams own him, I think, so it doesn't have a huge impact, and you'd think he's still a top 6 defender. George Hewitt 99. He was good. His scoring has dropped off a touch, but you take a 99 from a defender every day of the week. James Sicily 81. Considering how wet it was in Sydney for that game, 81 is a pretty decent score in the end from Sicily, as his scoring relies a lot on his marking, and he wasn't able to do that. He only had the one mark, so definitely could have been a lot worse. And then I looped D'Ambrosio's score of 77 onto my field, which was handy this week as he played a great game off half-back, and he should make plenty of cash now, which is nice moving forward. Now onto the midfielders who went absolutely enormous for me this week, starting with Clayton Oliver, 136. He is in some sort of form at the moment, this man. He is virtually unstoppable at the moment, and his fantasy game has gone to the next level this season, that's for sure. Lachie Neale, 133. He was fantastic. He just loves the Gabba, Lachie Neale. You can pretty much bank on a 115 plus score every time he plays there. Jack McRae, 93. He was the only outlier amongst my mids this week, McRae. He continues to have this up and down sort of a season, which is a little annoying, but it is what it is. Andy Brayshaw, 121. He went enormous again, Brayshaw. He laid 11 tackles in this game, which is just extraordinary. And he's a personal favourite of mine, this guy. He's just an absolute machine, and love watching him play. Tuke Miller, 132 as captain this week, which was a very good result, especially considering he copped a bit of a knock to the head near half time and actually went down to the room. So it was a bit worrying there for a bit, but luckily he was all good in the end, and he came back on to deliver a big captain score for me, which was very nice. Josh Kelly, 124. He seemed to lap up the wet conditions, did Kelly. He had 30 disposals and 10 tackles, so it was a fantastic game from him. Zach Merritt, 128. He's starting to really hit his straps now, Zach Merritt. He was huge for the Dons in that game. I think he kicked 3 goals from memory, and hopefully he can keep this form going. Ben Keys, 123. I've been waiting for a big score like this from Keys for a while now, and he delivered big time this week. He played one of his best games for a while, and the Crows, they have a very nice draw to end the season, so he should be pretty good from here on in. On to the rucks now, and Darcy Cameron, 83. He just continues to get it done. He wasn't spectacular by any means in this game, but you take that score every day of the week considering how the rucks are at the moment. And Riley O'Brien, who I brought in this week to fill in for Jackson, 129. He just took advantage of a dream matchup against the ruckless D's. I think he had about 50 hit-outs, but he was pretty good around the ground too. And yeah, I'm still a bit worried about him as a pick though. I didn't really want him in my team, but the matchup he had was too good to ignore this week. So he basically forced my hand. And yeah, as I said, I had to fill in that spot for Luke Jackson this week. I didn't want to field Caleb Graham on my ground this week, so that's why I brought him in. So he should be okay moving forward. On to the forwards now, and Josh Dunkley, 113. He just gets it done every single week. Pretty much everyone owns him, so I think we probably don't appreciate him enough sometimes. Stephen Cornelio, 118. He has just thrived ever since McVeigh took over the reins. He's averaging 118 over his last 5 games, if you don't mind. He's in some sort of form. Adam Treloar, 100. He was good, but he seemed to have tweaked his hammy towards the end of that game, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Hopefully it was not too serious and he gets up for this week. Marcus Bontempelli, 108. He was awesome once again, the Bont, and yeah, he's still relatively cheap, so I definitely recommend bringing him in if you still don't have him. Will Brady, 104. He was great, and yeah, he's probably a keeper for the season now, to be honest. And Daniel Rioli, 98. Absolutely wrapped with that score from Rioli. He's just thriving playing off half-back for the Tigers this year. And yeah, I've had to keep him for longer than I'd originally anticipated, considering some of the ruck carnage recently. But yeah, he's still going really well, so I'm happy with that from Rioli. So that's how my team went this round. A big score of 25-34, which yeah, saw me improve the ranking by around 700 spots inside the top 1,000 to 802nd overall. So yeah, it was a pretty big round, a lot of big scores floating around this week, and yeah, glad my team did pretty well. So in terms of the trades that I'm looking to make heading into round 17, what I'm looking to do is, yeah, bring in Jordan Dawson, who I would have brought in last week if it wasn't for Luke Jackson being ruled out. So yeah, I definitely have to get Dawson in, especially after how well he performed against the D's. He was just absolutely everywhere in that game on Saturday night. So yeah, he's a must-have, I think. So I'm definitely going to look to bring in Jordan Dawson this week. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll downgrade Robbie McComb to a rookie. At this stage, I'm looking at someone like Zane True, who performed pretty well on the weekend for the Eagles. So I'll bring him in there. And then, yeah, that gives me the cash to then make that upgrade to bring in Dawson. So I've still got Luke Jackson, so he's probably the one that I look to upgrade to get Dawson, but someone like Daniel Rioli as well, he could be another one that I could look to move on if Jackson is named as that number 1 ruck and Gawn's knocked back. So yeah, I'll probably look to upgrade Jackson though, and yeah, then I'll swap McGuinness down to the forwards, and then that opens up that defender spot. So then I'll bring in Jordan Dawson there. So that's the trades that I'm looking to make there. So after those trades, this is how my team looks like heading into round 17. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks overall. I've now got that last rookie off my ground, and the worst sort of player I have at the moment on field is Daniel Rioli, who is going pretty well anyway. So yeah, I'm not too far off completing my team. Obviously, there's probably going to be some carnage moving forward. There's a few doubts over Adam Treloar's hamstring, so that could throw those trade plans up in the air a bit. And yeah, I've still got to fix up my rucks, I think, once Tim English comes back, Max Gawn, Brady Grundy. So there's still a few fix-up trades to happen there. But yeah, my team looks pretty solid overall. There's plenty of players in form. Defence looks good. Midfield looks good. Forwards are starting to shape up nicely. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks overall there. In terms of some general trade targets that I would recommend this week, obviously Jordan Dawson, who I touched on, I'll be bringing him in this week, barring any sort of carnage. Tim Taranto is someone that I'm very interested in, and yeah, for those who already have Dawson, he would be my number 1 trade target this week. He had a great game on the weekend, scoring 125, I think it was, and yeah, he's very cheap, around 750k or so, I think, from memory. So yeah, he offers some great value in the forward line. Jack Sinclair is another one for those that don't have him. He's performing great whenever he's not getting tagged. Obviously, that tag is a bit of a worry. Teams might start putting some work into him, but yeah, I still think he's a must-have in defence. And Marcus Bontempelli in the forward line, he's in some good form at the moment, and yeah, he's still relatively cheap, so I'll definitely recommend bringing in Bontempelli for those that don't have him. And some of the captain options that I like this week, Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca as VC options this week. I think they'll both go pretty big on Thursday night against Geelong. Then Rory Laird, he's absolutely flying at the moment, and he plays Hawthorn at Marvel, so that seems a great matchup for him. And Lachie Neale against the Bombers at the Gabba as well. So, and he had a great game against the Bombers earlier on in the year. I think he went 140 plus. So, yeah, he's another one that should go big this week. So, yeah, they're the captain options that I like this week. So that's all for today's video, guys. Thanks again for watching, and as always, it'd be much appreciated if you could like, comment, subscribe, leave any comments you have for me down below. I'm happy to hear and give a second opinion on any trade plans you have, so feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and good luck in round 17.